Hey friends, welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing some quick and easy Dollar Tree DIYs, and these are great for spring or maybe even everyday decor depending on the details that you choose to put into them. So let's get started. All right, so for this first one, we're gonna use this easel. This is from the Dollar Tree. As you can see, I already did a DIY on it for the fall, but I just thought I would repurpose that. So I popped off the little wooden leaf and then scraped off any glue and just sanded the whole thing down. Probably didn't need to. I mainly sanded it down for the sake of the glue that was on there. And then I just wiped it off because you want a clean surface, no dust or anything. And we're going to use the Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster. I did end up giving this 2 coats of paint, I believe. My plaster is getting a little bit old. Actually, all my paints are getting a little bit old. I need to be using them more apparently. Maybe I had too many choices to choose from. But anyways, so it was a little thick. So I did 2 coats and then I sanded it down to smooth it out, and then I also roughed up the edges a little bit because I do like a slightly distressed look. And then I have this stencil. This is from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just taping it down but also taping over any openings near the part that I'm going to be using, just so that I don't get any paint where I don't want it. We're going to go in with Waverly in the color Celery. I really love using celery and the color moss in my everyday decor, but I think that those colors work really great for spring and summer as well. So I do tend to use them a lot this time of year. And I'm just using a pouncer brush. Don't want to have too much paint on it. This was not a perfect stencil, but it really came out fine for the look that I'm going for. You just want to do up and down. Don't oversaturate your sponge, and don't go over any spots too much. Just let it be. And of course, you're letting everything dry in between. Otherwise, this is a super, super quick DIY, and the paint doesn't take that long to dry anyway. But make sure you're letting it dry before we're moving on. Those gold butterfly stickers are from, I think it's wall stickers from Dollar Tree. And I will say on walls, maybe they come off and they're easily movable. On painted surface, they stick. So where you put them down, you're going to leave them. But I put one of those on, and then I cut out these words Simply Blessed from a rub-on transfer pack from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just placing that down and rubbing that to do the transfer. I always pull the plastic transfer part off slowly in case it is not fully transferred. You can just easily lay it back down. And then I decided it needed one more of the gold butterflies, and I love this subtle and kind of simple, it's like neutral but with color look. I'll show you the finished product at the end for all of these. So now we're moving on to this house sign. This is from the Dollar Tree. This is how it came. I wanted to pull off the heart. I thought about just using it and painting it and doing something different with it on there, but it was on crooked and it was bothering me. So this takes a few different looks as we go through this DIY. I'm going to just take you through the process. So I'm using my hairdryer to heat up the glue, and I just realized the whole thing was not going to come off. It wasn't going to. So I got off most of it, and then I was like, okay, what are we going to use to cover it? So I have this chalk tag. I'm moving through it quickly because I changed my mind, but I wanted to show you the process. This is a chalk tag that comes in a pack from the Dollar Tree, and I stenciled and then I transferred over it. I stenciled on both sides. I just wasn't liking how it was coming out. My vision was not working. So I painted it with the plaster, and then I'm using the pouncer brush with celery, and we're just going to give it kind of a neutral base here. I did do the pouncing technique because it gave it a little bit more texture. And then I cut out the words love, joy, and peace, or it was love, peace, joy. It was the order it was in on the transfer sheet, and I just wasn't a fan of it. So I decided to cut it apart and do it kind of my own. So I just did love, joy, peace, and I centered it the way I wanted it to. And I'm just using my fingernail to transfer these on. I do go in and add a couple little greenery floral pieces from that same pack as well. I just didn't show that to you. And then I decided I was going to paint this house. You can paint over fabric, and I use the plaster paint. I do dip my paintbrush in the water a few times to make it more easily movable. Like I said, this paint is old and pretty thick. So it took me a little bit of time. I did a couple of coats. You could do it until you can't see anything, but I didn't mind the texture or the pattern showing through slightly, but you can just do it however you want to do that. You could also just scrapbook over it, but I thought this scrapbook paper over it, I should say. But I thought that this worked well for the look I was going for. And then I painted the roof, didn't like the color, painted it again. I'm using those hippie chalk paint markers, or acrylic, I think they might be acrylic paint markers from Hippie Crafter that they sent me. I shared it in another DIY, and I love them for this kind of project because I don't have to worry about any paint dripping over the edges or anything. So gave that painted that white with those paint markers. We're going to hot glue the chalk tag onto the center, and then I made a little bow out of the twine that it came on. I just pulled that off, made a little bow, and hot glued that on and trimmed the edges. If you are enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's a very easy way for you to help out my channel. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying it and making them more likely to share it with others. Now this house sign does stand up okay on its own, but just to be sure it wouldn't tip over too easily if like the piece of furniture it's on is like bumped at all, I just hot glued a couple of those tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree on the back to just give it a wider base. So moving on, this little sign is super cute. Came from the Dollar Tree. We're going to open it up and we're going to pop out the center, the sign part. When I'm looking at signs to pick up from Dollar Tree, I love ones like this that just have the prongs on the back. It makes it super easy to DIY because it's very easy to take out just like a picture frame. So we're going to paint the back using, again, the Waverly chalk paint in the color Celery. I do end up doing a couple of coats of that. You can paint or put paper on the back side to finish that up. I will probably honestly end up doing the other side in another DIY, so I just left it as is. But if you want to finish it up, feel free to do that. Now, I know these next couple clips are a little bit blurry, and I apologize. It does get better. I'm taking this rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree, and we're going to cut off the bottom. It's kind of got like a viney, florally pattern, and we're just going to put that on the bottom. And then we're also going to cut out a couple of the letters as well to write spring. And they're different sizes, but they're all the same font, and I thought it was a cute one. Cute idea. I'm using various things to do the rub-on transfers with. I just use anything I have lying around in front of me. If you are new to my channel and you enjoy budget-friendly and easy DIYs, I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel and make sure that you have your notification bell turned on. And that way you can check out my future DIYs, and that also helps my channel out so much. So if you're enjoying what I'm doing, then I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel. And once that is all finished, I did Mod Podge it just to seal it in a little bit and popped it back in the frame. And this is how they came out. I love how these turned out, and I think they're great for spring or just kind of every day. Obviously the word spring is on there, but you can put whatever you want if you don't want it to be spring specific. And that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time.